Let's solve the equation that results from setting the function f of x equal to g of x. Okay, so that's going to be the absolute value of 2x plus 1 is equal to the absolute value of x minus 7. Okay, so I'm setting an absolute value, which usually results in two equations, equal to another absolute value, which typically results in two equations. So you're going to see that there's an array of possibilities here. Okay, so the way we're going to handle it, let's simplify it a little bit. Let's just focus on this here. I'm going to work it out like normal. Remember, this inside piece could equal a positive and a negative, whatever's on the right side. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set 2x plus 1 equal to positive absolute value of x minus 7, and 2x plus 1 equals negative absolute value of 2x minus 7. Okay, and actually I'm going to go ahead and bring this over further to the right. Okay, now let's ignore that, and again, that makes it a little bit easier if I'm just focused on these two equations. Okay, let me flip this left side around just so that way it looks, a little bit nicer, a little bit more traditional. Okay, and the rule still applies. If you have an absolute value set equal to something, the inside part of the absolute value could equal positive or negative whatever's on the right side. Okay, same rule as before. So x minus 7 could equal positive 2x plus 1. X minus 7 could equal negative 2x plus 1. And notice I used the parentheses there just to remind myself that this negative applies to the entire thing, the entire right side. All right, so let's solve these one at a time. I'll go ahead and put a little boundary here. Okay, I want to cancel out the x's on the right side and the constants on the left side. So let's do that one at a time. To cancel out the 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, and then to cancel out that constant, that minus 7, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Okay, if I did this right, then 2x minus 2x will cancel, and negative 7 plus 7 will cancel, leaving me with just x's on the left. X minus 2x is negative x. And on the right, 1 plus 7 is 8. And then divide both sides by negative 1, because this is an understood negative 1 in front of that x, to get x equals positive 8. Nope, negative 8. Okay, so there's my first possible result. I need to be careful to check my numbers in the end. Okay, so negative 8. Cool. Now let's go on and figure out x minus 7 equals negative 2x plus 1. Well, first of all, I'm going to distribute that negative. Okay, because that negative applies to the entire side. Okay, and then similarly, what I'm going to do is cancel out the 2x, the negative 2x on the right side by adding 2x to both sides. I'm going to cancel out that minus 7 on the left side by adding 7 to both sides. Okay, so those should cancel and those should cancel, leaving me with 3x equals negative 1 plus 7, which is 6. Divide both sides by 3 to get that x is equal to 2. All right, so left side gave me two results, a negative 8 and a positive 2. All right, on to the right side. Let's first deal with this negative in the front. Here we know we need absolute value to be by itself. We need it to be positive. So what I'm going to do is actually just multiply both sides. Let me see if I can write this out neatly, or neat enough. Multiply both sides by negative 1. Because a negative times a negative will be a positive. Okay, and if I distribute the negative on the left side, I get negative 2x minus 1 is equal to the absolute value of x minus 7. And then like before, I will flip this around to make it look a little normal. Okay, so now I have a setup. Absolute value of x minus 7 equals negative 2x minus 1. Okay, so just like before, this can yield two results. X minus 7, the interior, could equal this as it is, negative 2x minus 1. X minus 7 could equal the negative version of that, negative 2x minus 1. Okay, so on the left here, I'm going to solve it by, as before, adding 2x to both sides and adding 7 to both sides. Those would cancel. Those would cancel to leave me with 3x is equal to 6. This looks familiar. Divide both sides by 3. And x is equal to 2. On the right side, I will distribute this negative 1 here. Negative 1 times negative 2x is a positive 2x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. And this should look familiar as well. Subtract 2x from both sides. Add 7 to both sides. Those should cancel, and those should cancel to give me negative x is equal to 1 plus 7. That's 8. And then divide each side by negative 1. X is equal to a negative 8. Okay, so I ended up getting the same solution twice, right? I got 2 twice, and I got negative 8 twice. Now what I want to do is go back and make sure these actually work, okay? Both negative 8 and 2. So I'll go back to my original. Absolute value of 2x plus 1 equals absolute value of x minus 7. And let me go ahead and give myself a break there, okay? So again, I'm testing it out. The absolute value of 2x plus 1 equals the absolute value of x minus 7. So absolute value of 2 times negative 8 plus 1 equals the absolute value of negative 8 minus 7. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Negative 8 minus 7 is negative 15. Negative 16 plus 1 is negative 15. Those look to be the same, but let's finish working it out. Negative 15, absolute value of that is positive 15. Same thing on the right, check. Negative 8 is a solution. Now let's try 2. 2 times 2 plus 1 in absolute value. 2 minus 7 in absolute value. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 minus 7 is negative 5. 4 plus 1 is 5. Okay, and then the absolute value of positive 5 is 5. The absolute value of negative 5 is 5 as well. Check, this one works. So my other solution 2 is also a solution. Okay, so there we go. When we set f of x equal to g of x, we get both negative 8 and 2 as solutions.